Back to Philly Sports Unfiltered. Guys, in today's video, we are talking some Eagles training camp, and we are through about 2 full weeks of Eagles training camp now. It's about 7 days of practice in total if we don't count the walkthroughs. And we're going to do a little stock up and stock down. I've picked out 10 players, and 6 players are stock up, 4 are stock down. We're going to try to keep it as measured and even as possible. So let's jump right into this. First player on our stock up chart is going to be Jordan Davis. And Jordan Davis is obviously, he's our top draft pick in this year's draft. And he's been one of the stories. He's been one of the standouts at camp. He's really been an absolute beast. And he's kind of stood out in every practice that they've had so far. He's been incredibly strong and incredibly agile. And what we felt was going to be his biggest weakness heading into the NFL was his lack of ability to rush the passer. But so far in training camp, he's actually been a beast in the pass rush. He's been winning all of his one-on-one battles. He's been putting all the linemen he's been going against like absolutely on their ass, just putting them on skates. Like he has done a really phenomenal job. He's having an amazing camp. He's overpowering everyone. And he looks like he's going to be a really great player because obviously now like he's in there and he's just running off of just raw physical power and dominance. But over time, this kid is going to learn technique, and I think that he's going to be a serious problem. And this is somebody that I see being just a stalwart of our defense and somebody that I think is going to be a team captain heading towards the future. Next player that's stock up that I want to mention is Kyzir White. Kyzir White has flashed as the best linebacker in camp to this point. He has been incredibly instinctive, and he has had a lot of success both rushing the passer and defending the pass. In camp, whether it's on mostly in 11-on-11s, and he's just been really good. And just overall, the linebacking group has looked very solid. But if there's one person who's just really stood above the others, it has been Kyzir White, and that's great news for us because linebacker has been a very weak position on this team for a long time. My next stock up player is going to be James Bradberry. James Bradberry is someone that we were a little bit worried about in OTAs. He didn't have the best OTA, but he had just literally joined the team. He didn't know the playbook. He didn't know everything. But in training camp, he has been a beast. He's looked like the best cornerback in the camp. He's extremely physical. He's very good in press man. And he's dominated our best receiver. He's really dominated A.J. Brown. He's gotten the better of A.J. Brown consistently throughout training camp. Bradberry is looking like a beast. And I mean, that's saying something because he's playing opposite of Slay. Slay is coming off of a really good year. We know that he's a good corner with a lot of track record, in this league. And Bradberry's right now, he's looking like the better player. I really like what we're seeing from our secondary to this point. Really glad Bradberry is on our team. Next stock up is a really big one. I think this one is going to be really important for the success of our season, and that is Brandon Graham. BG is back. This guy, he is back to 100% off of that injury. We heard what he had said in his press conference that he felt that it was a lot easier to come back from the Achilles than it was from his knee injury. And he feels like he's back to 100%. He doesn't have any concern. And his play has really shown that in training camp. BG is another one that is absolutely looking dominant in the pass rush. He's been dominating his one-on-one battles. He's been going against Jack Driscoll a lot, and he's been making Driscoll just look silly. I mean, he's just flying past him, bowling past him. BG looks back to himself. He looks spry, and he looks like he's a young 34 years old. So I'm super excited for BG. Obviously, he's a hometown favorite, and just to see him back healthy again, I think it's really good for our football team. And hell, we could certainly use his help, on the defensive line this year. So stock up Brandon Graham. Next player that is stock up is going to be A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, obviously, we knew that he was going to be our top receiver this year. It's been a while since we have had a stud wide receiver who's big and is physical. And he has been completely as advertised. He has not disappointed whatsoever so far in camp. He's by far been the most targeted receiver by Jalen Hurts. I would say probably A.J. Brown is getting the most targets, and then after that, probably Dallas Goedert, and then number 3 would be Devontae Smith. But AJ Brown has been getting a ton of targets. He's looked really good. He's done a little bit of everything. You've seen his ability to get yards after the catch. You've seen his ability to go deep, run crossing routes, and he has been by far the best receiver in camp. He has struggled a little bit against James Bradberry, but he's had his way with Slay and the other corners. So yeah, really encouraged. I think AJ Brown's gonna have a great year, and so far we're getting everything that we paid for, bringing him to the team. So that is really fantastic to see. Last stock up player I think is another important one, and this is Cam Jurgens. Now, look, if everything goes well this season, Cam Jurgens is not going to see the field, and I'm fine with that. If this is Jason Kelce's last year and we're having somebody that can really step in and be a long-term starter at center after Kelce retires, it was worth the draft pick. And so far, Jurgens, two things have jumped out of the page. Basically, the kid is strong as a bull, which is really important because he's not the biggest center that you're going to see in the league. He's someone that you want to be strong and agile, like can kind of get out there and do second-level blocks, which is what Kelce does. But the other thing that we're hearing that's coming out of camp is he really has perfect technique. We keep hearing that quite a lot, and that's a really big compliment for a rookie. Someone being as technically sound as him, once he really learns the ins and outs of the game, he's probably going to end up having a really nice career for the Eagles. So I'm really encouraged by that. Now, let's get into the stock down. I have 4 of these. First stock down that I want to go over, it's going to be Jalen Hurts. And I know some people are going to get pissed off about this because we all want Jalen to have a good year. I believe in Jalen. I do think that he's going to have an improved season this year. I do think that he's going to end up being our long-term starter. But look, we have to be honest. He just has not made the strides, or has not demonstrated that he has made the strides that we were hoping that he would make so far to this point. He has struggled with accuracy. The offense has looked fairly stagnant in most of the practices. And he's just not there in the passing game. Now, I will say that I do feel from the things that we've seen and heard that he has made some improvement. He does seem to be, in most cases, getting the ball out a little bit quicker. He is working the middle of the field a little bit better than he was in past years, but still, he's throwing a lot of interceptions. He's still accurate. Sometimes he's short, sometimes he's long, sometimes he's throwing behind receivers. He just really hasn't seen the field very well, and the offense just has not been impressive. So we have to go with stock down up until this point. It could change. There's still joint practices. There's still preseason games. Let's see what happens. But right now, stock down 100%. The next stock down, and we did touch on this in a previous video, is Nakobe Dean. Now, Nakobe Dean, up until this point, we have to be honest, he's been the least impressive linebacker so far on the team. Definitely Kyzir White, Edwards are far ahead of him, and even Davion Taylor has flashed a lot more than Nakobe Dean. But what I said in my previous video, I still think it stands true. Nakobe is a person that, he's a field general. He really needs the knowledge in order to be able to direct the defense and be able to rely on his instincts, because he has to reflect back on his knowledge. He's still learning the playbook. He's still learning the terminology. I think when he gets that aspect of it licked, the academic aspect, I think we will start seeing the flash, but it may just take a little bit longer than we had hoped. Next stock down is a big stock down, and this is going to be Carson Strong. Heading in the training camp, we were hopeful. Actually, he looked good in OTAs. We were hopeful that he was maybe going to be able to break in at that QB3, and if he played well enough, maybe we could work out a Gardner Minshew trade. But Carson Strong has been abysmal. He's been absolutely pitiful, and at this point, I do not think that he is going to make the team. He's really has been that bad. Who knows? Maybe he ends up being like a practice squad player, but I don't think that at this point we're going to see him on the 53-man roster. Last stock down, and this one is a painful one. It's the Eagles' offense in general. Offense has looked terrible overall. Like the majority of the practices, they're not even getting on the scoreboard. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 practices of the 7 where they have scored. They just have not looked very good. Whether it's first team or second team, they're just not looking very good right now. And, Basically, all the QBs are struggling. You know, we've had Devontae Smith has been out, you know, here and there. There's been a couple people on the offense that have been banged up and haven't practiced, but just overall, we were really expecting this offense to take a big jump. We were all very enthused with the addition of A.J. Brown, you know, with the development of Jalen Hurts, and so far they haven't put it together. We haven't seen it. My level of concern with the offense, it is rising. It is still very early. I do feel that, you know, on paper we should be better than where we were at last year, but so far we're not really seeing that. So, but those are my 10. What do you guys have? Who are your stock up and stock down players after 2 weeks of training camp? Let me know in the comment section below. And guys, as always, if you find that you're enjoying the videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that thumbs up button. That's all I got for this one, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Until then, go Birds.